A live look right now in Herndon, Virginia. This is just outside our nation's capital. We are awaiting Donald Trump. He is due to take part in a town hall in that battleground state. It's a big one. National defense, care for veterans, fighting Islamic terror, among the topics. We're going to bring you that just as soon as it begins.
While we await that event, now here was Trump on Saturday talking about the Clintons' relationship with each other.
Hillary Clinton's only loyalty is to her financial contributors and to herself. I don't even think she's loyal to Bill. You want to know the truth. And really, folks, really, why should she be, right? Why should she be?
Marianne Marsh, former advisor to Secretary Kerry, and Kristen Soltis Anderson, Republican pollster and columnist for the Washington Examiner. How you doing, ladies? Good morning to both of you. Kristen?
Good morning, Bill.
I don't know. It's just last week we were talking about Howard Dean and cocaine. We're talking about sex tapes. I mean, this election's got it all. I would venture to guess at the moment that nothing is off limits. Taxes, relationships, and on and on. Where are you on this?
Well, you know, when Donald Trump was running in the primary, he made the case, look, I'm the only one that's going to have the guts to go there on some of these issues. So Republican voters knew what they were getting when they were picking Donald Trump. They knew that this was the sort of thing that might be on the table. But a poll out just this morning has 56% of voters saying they think it's inappropriate for Trump to bring up the affairs, including 62% of women. This is just him talking about things that are not the issues that matter to most voters. And so as you were talking about earlier, when Trump is on the issues is when he's the best. You know, think about 2 weeks earlier when he began to retake ground from Hillary Clinton in the polls. It's because he wasn't in the headlines for any of these outrageous statements. I think by focusing on this, he risks making Hillary Clinton look like the victim and putting her back in a place where voters like her more.
Does she defend herself on this, or does she ignore it? What do you think her strategy should be?
Well, I think it depends on the venue. I mean, if it's right now, I don't think she needs to say anything about it. But does he say something at the debate next Sunday? I think that's the question. And so when you look at Donald Trump, his whole candidacy is based on winning. And he's not right now. To Kristen's point, he's behind in the polls. We know now that he lost at least almost $1 billion in 1 year alone. He says he has a winning temperament, and when he acts like this and says the things he said on Saturday night and elsewhere, that's not winning. And I think what you're seeing now is the pressure is getting to Donald Trump. He realizes this race is starting to slip away from him. And as I've said on this show and elsewhere many weeks ago, if Donald Trump ever thought he was losing this race, he was going to try to take her with him. And I think we're about to see that.
All right. So here was Trump again on stamina and the physical demands of the office when he went this.
She's supposed to fight all of these different things, and she can't make it 15 feet to her car. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. She's home resting right now. She's getting ready for her next speech, which is going to be about 15 minutes, and it's going to be in 2 or 3 days.
That was kind of like the Ben Carson moment from the primary battle. Kristen, is she vulnerable on health? What's the effect of that aspect of Trump's presentation, let's call it?
So there was some polling that came out about 2 weeks ago around the time of the 9/11 memorial when she did have some trouble sort of getting into the van, where there were voters saying, look, I am concerned. I am concerned that, you know, there was actually a very morbid poll question that asked, do you think that these candidates would make it through the first term? And there's a sizable portion of voters who think that it's possible that whoever we elect might not make it through the first term of their presidency. So this is the sort of thing that I actually think does make voters concerned. You know, these candidates make voters a little bit anxious. Both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, if you ask voters, they say the idea of them being in the White House makes them anxious. The idea that you could vote for someone and then they might not make it through the first term is something that certainly I think keeps a lot of voters up at night. With that said, again, it's not about the issues, which I think means that it's not a strong message.
Okay, listen, there were so many headlines over the weekend. Here's another one. Leaked audio of Hillary Clinton from February talking about basement dwellers, Bernie Sanders supporters, when she said this.
They're children of the Great Recession, and they are living in their parents' basement. If you're feeling that you're consigned to, you know, being a barista or, you know, some other job that doesn't pay a lot and doesn't have much of a ladder of opportunity attached to it, then the idea that maybe, just maybe, you could be part of a political revolution is pretty appealing.
How do you defend that, Marianne? What do you think the impact of that is?
It's pretty easy, frankly, and it's been, I'm really disappointed in the media, many outlets, who just looked at the top line of this and didn't look at this entire quote. And there are a lot of apologies and retractions due here. The fact is, she was analyzing why millennials feel this way. They are children of the recession. They watch their parents lose their homes, lose their marriage, lose everything, and they have struggled along the way. So she was empathizing with them and explaining why they think about politics the way they do, and she is spot on right about it.
Okay,
and
so
that's why she's offered plans to make college more affordable.
They had an event, right? They canceled that today, right?
That's about, you know what that is, Bill? It's far more efficient for Bernie Sanders to go out and campaign on his own and Hillary Clinton to go campaign on her own with 36 days to go and states to win.
Come on, Marianne.
That's what that's
Come on.
about.
That's spin.
No, fact. Fact, Bill.
Fact.
Fact. Check it out.
Last word.
You know, I think that in some ways that her read of the millennial generation is a little bit wrong, because I think a lot of them don't just want free college and free health care. I know it's kind of easy to demonize millennials as just wanting free stuff.
They'd like
but a lot
job.
of the research I've done, they'd like a job. They'd like ways to pay for college on their own. They'd like health care to be affordable. It doesn't mean they want just handouts. And I think this idea that you can win young voters with handouts is the wrong approach.
I'm out of town. We had a lot to get to. Thank you, ladies, to both of you. Marianne, thanks
Bill.
in Boston. Kristen, thanks to you in D.C. Melissa. Hey, good morning, everybody. Here we go right now, awaiting Donald Trump set to take the stage for a speech in Virginia. That event coming after the New York Times published one of his tax returns from over the weekend, and apparently that is all the talk. As we say, good Monday, everybody. I'm Bill Hemmer. Got a big weekend story here, live in America's Newsroom. Martha's got some time with the family. How are you?
Yeah, good. Big week today. I'm excited to be here. I'm Melissa Francis. I'm in today for Martha McCallum. So the 1995 return shows that Trump declared a nearly $1 billion loss that year, and that could have allowed him to legally not pay federal income tax for up to 18 years. Legally. Trump critics pouncing on the report, but his advisors say he deserves praise.
My response is he's a genius. I mean, the reality is absolute genius. This is a perfectly legal application of the tax code, and he would have been a fool not to take advantage of it. You have an obligation when you run a business to maximize the profits. And if there is a tax law that says I can deduct this, you deduct it. If you fail to deduct it, people can sue you.
Genius or just simply following the law? Team Fox coverage, Byron New York has analysis, but we're going to start with Peter Ducey, who's live in Washington. Peter, so what is the Trump campaign saying about this?
Melissa, they're not even confirming that Trump was excused from paying taxes for 18 years, but they are saying that the little information contained in these 3 pages of tax forms reveal that Trump knows a lot about the way the IRS operates. So Trump tweeted that, quote, "I know our complex tax laws better than anyone who has ever run for president, and I'm the only one who can fix them." And his campaign points out they think that Trump has an obligation not just to his business, but also to his family to do whatever he can to pay the lowest possible tax rate that the law allows.
The genius of Donald Trump has been to make sure that he follows the law, which is exactly what he's done, and politically he has said that he's going to change these laws and that there's no one who's better suited to change these laws.
Trump also says that in the time covered by these tax returns, he was creating jobs, and he says the only jobs Hillary Clinton created were at the DOJ and the FBI. Melissa.
And again, he was just following the law, not breaking it. Do we know if there are any more documents that are going to be released?
It's possible. The Times reporter who says that she just got these files in the mail from somebody that she didn't know won't say if there are any others. But the Trump campaign is warning the New York Times that publishing anything like this without Trump's permission is against the law. They write that, quote, "The only news here is that the more than 20-year-old alleged tax document was illegally obtained, a further demonstration that the New York Times, like establishment media in general, is an extension of the Clinton campaign, the Democratic Party, and their global special interests." The Times executive editor has said in the past that he would go to prison if it meant that he could put Trump's tax returns in his paper. So it's unclear right now how concerned he is by the campaign's counterattack. Melissa.
Peter, great report. We're going to talk to Judge Andrew Napolitano coming up about whether or not it was legal for them to print those. So we'll see. Thanks.
Looking forward to that. Want to bring in Byron York now, analysis, chief political correspondent, Washington Examiner, and Fox News contributor. How you doing, Byron?
Good morning, Bill.
You've had 36 hours to think about it. What's the effect on this, do you think?
Well, look, this is what the Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party have been waiting for a long time. They have been talking about Donald Trump's tax returns, and now we have 3 pages, the front pages of 3 tax returns from 1995. We know that Trump was suffering terrible reverses in the early 1990s. His casinos in Atlantic City were failing. So the fact that he lost not a lot of money is not a huge surprise. $916 million, that's a lot to lose. On the other hand, if you read this New York Times article, that while the fact of the loss is a fact, there's a lot of speculation that then Trump might not have paid federal income taxes for the next 18 years. All speculation. That's what the Trump team is hitting. Seems a little odd for Trump's defenders like Rudy Giuliani and Chris Christie to talk about his business acumen in losing all that money. It's really better not to lose $916 million, but still this may end up to be kind of a wash for Trump in the end.
It could be. I think Trump's best asset now is to go out and talk about what his tax plan would do for everyday Americans and the middle class. Well, and what would be the effect then on undecided voters? And Byron, I think that's a critical question. It's something we need to figure out.
Well, it's hard to know. We've seen polling over months that has asked the public, should Donald Trump release his tax returns? And every candidate since 1996 has done that. And the polls are very strong. The public says that he should, in fact, release his tax returns. But what you just said about him talking about his tax plan is a real point. Think of every single Trump scandal that we've had, Judge Curiel or Khizr Khan or Alicia Machado or now this taxes. The solution for Trump to every single one of these scandals has been to go out and talk about his issues. That's how he can make things better, and that's what he has actually declined to do for at least a week in each of these cases.
He could get the upper hand if talked about his policy, especially with independents that we have seen a lot of the polling right now. Byron, look at this right now. This is a what-if scenario right now. 270 to go. Over the top for the next presidency. Here's kind of where they start. Clinton at 201 and Trump's at 164. The numbers on the far right now, okay, these will change right now as we put this into motion. We believe if you take all the averages, Real Clear Politics, some of these battleground states that are listed here in gray, we believe he has an edge in Ohio, okay? We believe he has an edge in Iowa. He has a slight advantage in North Carolina, same for Colorado and same for Nevada. Now, Hillary Clinton, meanwhile, let's say under this scenario, she picks up Wisconsin and Michigan, which are typical Democratic states, all right? Let's say they stay that way. And then for Trump, perhaps Georgia and Arizona stay in the Republican column. And this is where we are right now, 227 to 245 under this scenario. But in the Real Clear average in Florida, she has a slight edge. Listen, it's too close to call down there, but she has a slight edge, which would put her at 256. She also has an advantage in Virginia based on the polling, which would put her at 269. If that's the case, she has the easiest path to the White House right now. She would just need to pick up New Hampshire, and if she did not get New Hampshire, Pennsylvania's sitting out there, okay? So, Byron, when you look at this, if Trump were to take Pennsylvania, he's at 265, and then there would be a rush on Manchester, New Hampshire, to try and figure out what happened up there. And under this scenario, it would be 269 to 269. The point is in all of this, a lot of these states are too close to call, and Florida, as you point out, could be critical for Trump to have any shot. Go.
Absolutely. Hillary Clinton has always had a wider and smoother path to 270 electoral votes than Trump has. Trump has a few different options, but there is no non-Florida scenario for Trump to win the White House. He has to win Florida. He needs to win Ohio, where he's doing pretty well. There is a non-Pennsylvania scenario. He could probably get there by winning other states if he didn't win Pennsylvania, but Florida is absolutely critical. So if the Clinton campaign can stop him there, Hillary Clinton wins the White House.
Thank you, Byron. We'll change the map throughout the week because there's probably 100 different scenarios you can draw up right now. Thank you, sir. See you later. Real soon.
Thank you, Bill.
You bet. Melissa.
And keep it right here to Fox News tomorrow as the running mates take their turn in the spotlight at Longwood University in Farmville, Virginia. We will have special coverage all day long leading up to the one and only vice presidential debate featuring Senator Tim Kaine and Governor Mike Pence.
Looking forward to that. We'll be live in Farmville tomorrow for America's
that'll be a good
News.
one.
So, yeah, can't wait. All right.